Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I got this peachy lime makeup look. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to start off by priming my eyes using a mixture of the Morphe Fluidity concealer as well as the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer. The Jouer concealer is in the shade Honey, and I'm going to place that on the inner portion of the eye, and the Morphe concealer is in the shade 3.55. This one's a lot closer to my skin tone, so I'm going to place that on the outer portion of the lid. Once the eyes are primed, I'm then going to move on to shadows. I'm going to first go in with the Huda Beauty Nude Rich palette, and I'm using the darkest brown from this palette, and I'm going to start placing that onto the outer corner of the eye and kind of drag it towards the crease. I'm using a slightly smaller brush because I really want to make sure to focus this color just on the outer corner of the eye. Then for my next transition shade, I'm going to go in with another brown from the Nude Rich palette. This one is a much warmer, red type brown, and I'm going to use that to blend out the edges of my previous shade. I'm going in with another slightly smaller brush because I still want precision, but I'm just going to make sure to take my time as I blend because I really want this look to be super blown out. Before I go on to my next transition color, you guys know I like to use the Fenty Beauty blotting powder just to set the brow bone area. You can literally use any translucent powder for this step. It literally works just the same. I just like to use the Fenty one because it comes in a compact, so it makes it much easier to apply. So once that brow bone area is set, I'm going to add my third transition color, again from the Nude Rich palette, and I'm just using the shade right in the middle. I'm going to go in with a much fluffier brush this time and just apply that onto the crease, and I'm really going to drag this color outwards, and that is going to help us blow out the look even more and give us that really pretty wing shape. Next, I'm going to be using Bperfect's Perfect Prime Eyeshadow Base. I'm only using a little bit of this because I just want to make sure to prep the lid area before I go in with shadows. That way, whatever shadow I use on top comes off a little bit more on the vibrant side and just has a nice base to kind of stick onto. So yeah, I'm just going to use a little bit of that onto the lid and just kind of blend it into the crease area and everything, and just make sure everything is really smooth and there's no harsh lines anywhere. So for my lid shadow, I'm going to use a mixture of two different colors from the 35 Eye palette by Morphe to kind of get this really pretty peachy color, and I'm just going to pack that onto the lid using a flat shader brush. Once I have the color on, I'm going to go back in with my Morphe M506, the same brush that I used to apply those crease colors, and just kind of lightly blend out the edges of my lid shadow just to make sure again that there's no harsh lines anywhere and everything is super soft. I'm then going to start defining the lash line. I'm using a Japonesque eye pencil. This is their Velvet Touch eye pencil in the shade Deep Brown. I'm just going to drag that along the lash line, nothing really too crazy or anything. I'm not winging this out or anything like that. I'm simply just adding this onto the lash line because I want to smudge it and create a smoky liner. So this is going to be the base for all of that. Then going back in with that same dark brown from the Nude Rich palette, I'm going to add that on top of the eyeliner and start smudging it to soften the edges. Then to smoke out that lash line even more, I'm going to go in with the same two transition colors that we used on the crease and just go over on top of the eyeliner with those as well. And that's pretty much it for eyeshadow for now. I'm just going to add a couple of coats of mascara. I'm using one from Black Radiance. This is their Bold and Sexy Fiber Mascara. I'm just going to add a couple of coats of that before I apply on my false lashes. The lashes that I'm using today are from CrvstalLashes, and these are in the style 515. These are actually a collaboration lash that they did with Zackary Vang, and these are some of my favorites that they came up with. I love these lashes. They're super long, so I like to go in with my lash curlers as well and just kind of curl up the ends a little bit. And I find that the lash lash kind of helps open my eyes up a little bit more. So moving on to skin, I'm first going to prep the skin using the Farsali liquid powder. This is their new oil balancing serum with French pink clay. So far, I'm really loving this. I've been using it on my T-zone area, and so far it's been working really well. It just helps kind of keep my skin matte for the day. I definitely highly recommend this if you have oilier skin. I feel like if you use the right amount, this will definitely like be a new favorite for you. So I went ahead and applied a few drops onto the back of my hand first, and then used a brush to apply it onto my skin. That way I'm not over applying product. I'm then going to go in with a little bit of color corrector. The one that I'm using is from Becca. I believe it's in the shade Papaya. I'm going to use a little bit of that on the under eyes and around the mouth to help cancel any darkness. Then moving on to foundation, of course I had to go in with my Beauty Bakerie Instabake Aquaglass foundation, and right now I'm in the shade 321W, and I'm going to apply that onto the skin using a brush. Then for concealer, I'm going to use that same Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer in the shade Butterscotch as well as Honey. I'm going to apply Butterscotch first onto all the high points of the face, so the under eyes, the nose, a little on the cupid's bow as well as the chin, and I'm just going to give that good blend into the foundation. Once that first concealer is blended in, I'm going to use a little bit of the shade Honey, and this one I'm just going to add onto the innermost portion of the under eye area. Before I blend that concealer in, I'm going to let it sit for a bit so I get the fullest coverage. So while that concealer is drying, I'm going to go ahead and cream contour using a stick foundation from Black Opal. I'm going to apply that product onto my brush first and then apply it onto my skin, so that way I don't have to make the whole like lines and everything and try to blend those out. This way it's just a little bit easier for me to get a really smooth like cream contour. So I'm going to apply that onto all the areas that I want to create a little bit of extra depth, so the forehead, a little on the nose, as well as the cheekbones. Then once my cream contour is all blended, I'm going to go back in with my brush as well as my Japonesque sponge, and I'm going to blend out the rest of that concealer. So now it is time to set all of our concealer. I'm going to be using the Dermablend Loose Setting Powder. This is the original translucent one, and I'm going to go ahead and use a brush to apply this so that way I get a nice light, even layer. So next I'm going to be doing a little bit of nose contouring. I haven't contoured my nose in forever, so I did it as subtle as I possibly could just in case I messed up. But to contour my nose, I'm going to use a little bit of the sculpting powder from the Black Radiance True Complexion palette. I'm not going to use too much of this again. I wanted it to be super subtle just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some of that sculpting powder on the sides of my nose using a fluffier type of brush. And then just to kind of clean it up and like snatch the nose, I'm going to use a little bit of Dermablend's Loose Setting Powder and just kind of pack it on the sides of the nose as well. Then next I'm going to go back in with my Jouer concealer, and I'm going to use a very small amount of this and just kind of highlight the bridge of the nose. I'm using a slightly angled but kind of fluffier brush just so I'm able to blend the concealer out and the line doesn't look like too harsh or anything. Then with a little bit of MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in medium golden on my brush, I'm going to dust away all of that excess powder. Then for highlighter, I'm going to be using MAC's Oh Darling from the Star Dipped Face Compact in medium gold, and I'm only going to apply highlighter on the nose today. I'm not applying it onto the cheeks or anywhere else. I wanted the rest of the skin to be super matte, so I'm just going to hit the bridge of the nose as well as the tip of the nose. Then to bring some extra warmth into the skin, I'm going to go in with those same two contouring and sculpting shades from that Black Radiance palette, and I'm just going to add that on all the areas where I want to add a little bit of extra warmth. So the forehead, the cheekbones, as well as a little bit on the nose. Then to set the rest of the face, I'm going to be using a powder from Urban Decay. This is their Stay Naked Pressed Powder Foundation in 70 WY. And because this is a powder foundation, I'm not going to use a lot of this. I'm only going to use a very small amount on a large fluffy brush just to make sure I get the lightest coverage. I'm then going to start moving back to the eyes. So to smoke out the lower lash line, I'm first going to go in with my lightest transition color, and I'm going to buff that in using a Morphe M506. Then to deepen it up a little bit more, I'm going to use a mixture of my two darkest transition colors with a small little blending brush, and I'm going to place that as close as I can to the waterline. Then next I'm going in with a eyeliner for the waterline. I'm going to use a beige color from Japonesque. This is their Velvet Touch eyeliner in the shade Waterline Nude. Then to give this look a pop of color, I'm going to go back in with the Morphe 35 eye palette and use a mixture of these two pastel lime greens and add that onto the inner corners. Of course, I had to use my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Primer today. I'm going to add a couple of coats of that, let it dry all the way down, and then I'll go in with my mascara. I'm just using the same mascara that I used earlier from Black Radiance. I'm then going to use a little bit of cream blush from CoverGirl. This is their Clean Fresh Cream Blush in shades Sweet Innocence and Flushed. I mixed these two together to kind of get me like that really cute like corally type of color, and I'm going to use this as a base for my powder blush. So I went ahead and applied that onto the apples of the cheeks, and then I moved on to my powder blush. The blush that I'm going to be using today is from Bakerie. This is their Scoops Elysée palette, and I'm using a mixture of creme brulee and pink truffle. I'm then going to move on to brows. To fill them in, I'm going to use my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Ebony as usual. I'm going to fill them in by creating some faux brow hairs, so I'm not going too heavy with this or anything. I'm pretty much just focusing on the areas that are a little bit more on the sparse side, so that way the brow looks more even. Then to set the brows in place, I'm going to use Anastasia's Clear Brow Gel. For the lips, I'm going to line them first using ColourPop's lip pencil in BFF3. Then to give the lips a little bit of that extra contoured look, I'm going to use a darker lip pencil from Melt Cosmetics. This one is in the shade Edible. Then to fill in the lips, I'm going to use a liquid lipstick from L'Oreal. This is their Les Chocolat liquid lipstick in the shade Dose of Cocoa. It has a really cute like pink undertone, so I thought it would look really cute with this look. And then for gloss, I've been loving these new lip glosses from Melt Cosmetics. These came out with their Modern Love collection, and these are in the shades Stupid Cupid and Sucker. I just mixed a little bit of both onto the back of my hand and went ahead and applied it to my lips using a brush. And then finally, to set the look, I'm gonna go in with my Beauty Bakerie Sweet Grace Setting Spray. And that pretty much completes this look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and let me know what you think down below in the comments. I hope everyone had an amazing Valentine's Day. I hope you guys know that I love you so much. But thank you again for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.